Okay. Better, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Great. Awesome. Thank you. I
Okay.
uh, I wanted to start by first thanking you for joining the live here today. I want to tell a little bit the people that haven't watched yet what I'm trying to do. So as you may know, I have a big following on Instagram. I have over 80,000 followers there, and a lot of those followers are actually from here, from Southwest Florida. And so, I understand that local businesses are kind of struggling with the current situation that we're living. And I thought, how could I help? What could I do to help my community out, right? So because of this big following, I decided to open up this space on lives like this one to give local businesses and business owners an opportunity to kind of showcase their products, showcase their services, and also tell us a little bit of how they are adapting to the current situation that we're living, and how they're still offering their services and their products to customers around here. So it's been, I think this is the third week that I'm doing. So it's been very, very nice to meet different people. It's been very nice to learn about different businesses, right? Because even if you go to a particular business, you might not know all the details about it. So it's really interesting, and I'm actually getting positive feedback from the business owners too, that it's working for them, and that's my
Good.
goal, right? If one person, if one of the businesses that is here on the live gets a sale out of it, gets a new customer out of it, then I've done my job, right? So that's why I decided to do this. And then, but enough about me. I kind of want to start to talk about you and your business a little bit. If you could kind of start just giving us a little bit of your background, your history, where you're from, and just a little bit about you.
Okay. So my name is Yesenia Pedraza. Yesenia. Sometimes I go by Jessie. A lot of people know me by Jessie. I was born in New Jersey in Patterson. Was just there just a couple of years before my mom moved down to Florida. And I went to elementary, middle, and high school here in Naples. So I'm practically a Floridian, is what I say,
Yeah.
just with a little bit of New Jersey attitude. Yeah, so I lived here, worked 15 years here for a local government agency, and that's pretty much that was my main profession for 15 years, right out of college, and spent a lot of time there just developing, working with the community, and retired after 15 years to open up, my business. And I'm a wife to a wonderful husband and a local small business owner as well. We have 3 kids, and that's pretty much me in a nutshell, I think. A little bit of me anyway.
Awesome, awesome, yeah. And we're trying to see if we can get your husband in one of these lives too.
We were talking about it today. So he said he was going to hit you up. He's like, I just want to see how it goes for you. I'm like, okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
I kind of figured he would do that. He would kind of measure out how it goes today, and then
I'm
go.
the guinea pig.
I
I'm the
know
guinea pig. I'm like, okay,
exactly.
that's fine. Go.
So you kind of brought us from New Jersey to growing up in Naples, and then working here in Naples, and then what kind of sparked your interest in opening your business, and particularly the business that you opened? Did you see a need in the market for it? Did you was it something that you were passionate about? Is it something what kind of sparked you to take the next level and open the business that you currently have?
It was really working where I had worked for 15 years, and just that's where I really grew my skill set in organization, and really just the behind the scenes of how a company or an organization can work. And then coupling that with being able to work one on one with people there and helping them get organized to the point where they could work within that profession solo and do it without needing anybody else's help, the training aspect of it. So that's really where it really developed for me. And I realized, not only is it necessary in business, it's just necessary in life to have that mindset of going into anything with a plan, just having some kind of strategy or organization to it, and realizing a lot of people don't have that. They don't have that skill set. And when, where I used to work, I had to work with people that some of them had the skill set, some of them didn't. So it was my job to give them that skill set, to help them develop that skill set, work within that skill set. And that's really where it sparked. And I realized it's not just here, it's outside of here. It's people at home, it's small business owners, it's college students, it's, CEOs all the way down to people that are answering the phones for those CEOs that just need that skill set and they just don't know where or how to get it. And I just kind of took it from there and I said, you know what, I can do this. I've done it. I just did it for a government entity, so it was me saying, I can take this skill set, open up my own company and provide this to not only our community, but to other people in different states. I've had the privilege of working with some people in Chicago, some people in New Jersey, some people in California. And I'm like, I would have never guessed that, from, walking away from one thing to open up, a small business and see it kind of where it's at now.
Sure. Awesome. So, continue sort of with the story. So you saw a need for it. You saw that you had acquired all the skill set that was needed for the business as well. Then you decided to open your business. And, we didn't really talk about what your business is. So maybe this is a good time, for you to introduce the business and the services that you provide on the business as well.
Yep. So my company is Ordered Excellence. It is a professional organizing company. So I focus on physical organization of spaces. So that's your bedrooms, your kitchens, your offices, your storage units, wherever you live or work that you feel it needs to be physically organized. I do that. I do administrative organization. So that really is more tailored to small business owners, entrepreneurs that want to focus on their passion, but really don't want to deal with the behind the scenes, the administration that goes with that. That's like the not fun stuff. Figuring out workflows or having to figure out when those emails come in, how are we taking care of our clients, and all of those things can be very overwhelming for a business owner. And that's where I come in and will help develop those systems for them and hand it off to them and say, okay, here you go. You have a system that works for you. Or sometimes they'll come back and say, listen, I don't want to deal with that. I really want to focus on my passion, photography. Can you deal with this side of it, the behind the scenes for me? And so that's where the administration organization comes in. I also focus on digital organization. So everything is where it's online, right? We're on IG Live, we're on Facebook, we're all over the place. We're on our computers, on our phones constantly. And even that is chaotic for people. So a lot of the work that we do digitally is, I have people that come to me and say, I have 40,000 photos on my computer in 10 different places. I don't even know what to do. Like, I don't even know how to get those photos off to even put a book together for my kids, Yeah. So we'll come in there and we'll say, okay, let's take all of this, let's get it into one central location and get you organized where you can make those photos for your kids or whatever it may be. Same aspect for business owners. I have all these files. I just don't know where I'm going, what I'm clicking, and it's so overwhelming when you're in it. So a lot of times the outside perspective coming in says, okay, I got it. Like, I come in and I just see it already done. Yeah. And then we just start implementing that. So that's the physical, that's the digital, that's the administration. And then the pivot for me during this time was taking that virtually for people. And just saying, okay, I can't physically go into people's spaces right now because of what's going on. So how can I still offer that and still feel like I'm giving to my clientele and giving to my followers and still help them get organized? So that's when I had to pivot and say, okay, I can offer virtual sessions where we meet on FaceTime or on Zoom or, on Messenger and give them the skill set virtually instead of in person. So that's it. That's my business organization. My main goal is in any aspect, any space, any person that I talk to is just bringing the chaos that's in their life, that is in everybody's life right now, into some kind of order.
Yeah.
There's no reason, to me, I'm very passionate about, there's no reason why we have to live in chaos. Just because society is throwing different things at us, just because the media is throwing different things at us, it doesn't mean that we have to sit in it. We have control over, what's happening around us to a certain degree. Your mind, your thoughts that you have, you can control those things. So that's the avenue that I'm coming from with it.
Awesome. Yeah, and as we were talking about it, I mean, I've been a auditor for about 14 years now, right? And that's my job. I go in and I tell people, I'm a operational auditor, so I go in and I tell people what they are doing incorrectly, based on what they should be doing, on what they told me. And a lot of times, to go to a point that you said, a lot of times it has to do with organization, right? As an auditor, I go in and I ask for specific documentations or certain things, and people just can't find them just because they haven't stored them properly, or they're in different pieces and they need time to get them together to me. And then, and then obviously I'm an auditor, it starts to scare them a little bit. And
make them nervous.
And then you get even more nervous. But I see that on, I've audited a bunch of different companies, and I see that in every single company, that whenever you don't have that organization, it makes things a lot more difficult, right? And to the point that in certain cases we say, okay, your observation from this audit is that you have to organize your files, or you have to organize this, right? So I can see how impactful what you do is, and how it can impact businesses as well, right?
It's a fundamental, to me, it's like a fundamental piece to life, but even more so when you're a small business owner, because a lot of times it's just you, so you can't pawn it off and give it to somebody else to do a lot of the time. So, and if it's something that you don't enjoy doing, what happens? Well, let me push it aside and let me go and do what I really like, and then next thing you know, you have good clientele, you may have a good following, but behind the scenes is a mess. And eventually it's going to catch up where you're going to start losing clientele, losing money, losing your followers, and losing the faith that people have put into you. And they're going to end up going somewhere else where they feel assured that, hey, everything is being run here smoothly. Not just me as a client, but the behind the scenes, I feel comfortable with this company, with this solo business, whatever it may be. So to me, it's just a foundation of life. You don't have to be some, crazy organized person, but you have to have a basic skill set to work off of.
Sure. The other question I had for you is, so I live this, as I mentioned, I'm an auditor. So as I walk into places and, I'm part of a process, I tend to audit, I walk into a store, I tend to audit their process in my mind and say, oh man, they could do this better. They could, that I do that. I was going to ask you, is that part of your life too, that you walk into places and you look, they could have this a little bit more organized, or is it something that you live every day?
So it is. I've gotten very good, and I always tell people, I don't get invited to a lot of places because of this, because people are like, oh, she's going to look at my house and she's going to, judge me by my house. So I always tell people I come in with absolutely no judgment. No judgment whatsoever, because we're all in different areas of our life. There's a lot of stuff going on. You could be, working a full-time job. You have 5 kids. You're running them over to soccer. You're doing all of this stuff. It's overwhelming. So I come in non-judgment. There's nothing that has shocked me, owning my own business. But I think what's helped is where I used to work. 15 years in a government agency, you see it all. So now I built up like this ability to say, oh no, that's okay. We can handle this. Where somebody else would see their space and they're like completely overwhelmed. And the first thing they say is, please don't judge me. There's no judgment. There is no judgment whatsoever. Please let me help you so we can get you to where you can just breathe and relax in your space. But yeah, I don't get invited to a lot of my friends' houses.
So I have to tell you a funny story. So my first job out of college, I worked for BJ's Wholesale Club, and I was an auditor for them. And we had sort of a manual we had to follow, and one of the things was to check the fire extinguishers to make sure that they were redone they were verified every year. And it got to the point that I would be on Sunday with my wife, at Macy's or something, and if I saw a fire extinguisher, I just wanted to go and look at it to make sure that they had theirs, which had nothing to do with shopping at Macy's, right? But I just did it, so I
So
totally could see how what you do would become part of your day to day too. You walk into
I
a
walk into a grocery store and I'm fixing their
yeah,
cans.
correct.
In fact, I was at Publix. This was way before COVID. And one of their stockers was putting up, they were restocking like peanut butter and jelly. And I was waiting there for a prescription. And I took a picture of him because he wasn't just putting them up on the shelf. He was like facing all the labels out. And I put a picture and I put the picture on Facebook and I was like, this is my dream. I walk into Publix and all of the labels are faced nicely in front of me. It was so funny. But yeah,
so
it's
some people take that, take the very, very seriously. I was mentioning to you a little bit earlier in the conversation. So I grew up, my mom she has a cleaning business in Boston. And one of the things that she's passionate about is organization, right? So her clients would hire her to organize things. But growing up, she was very, very strict with, things need to be organized. You're done playing, put it away, all that kind of stuff, right? They're very strict. And I think maybe a little bit too strict that by the time I left for college, I was like, all right, this is freedom. I don't have to do any of that stuff. And I probably lost a little bit of that, but I still have it, right? I think once you're taught that and you learn that, it's in you. Maybe I'm a little bit more relaxed today. But if I'm working, I need to have a clean place. I need to have everything organized. When I'm done at the end of the day, I put everything away and I try to organize. My wife would probably say otherwise, but I as much as I can at least.
It really is just depending on where you're at. So, we have two girls and they have their places where their toys are supposed to be and things like that. But the balance is that they're kids, right? And I want them to enjoy their space. And is their room a mess? Yes. By the end of the night, are they supposed to put their toys away? Yeah, that's just, I don't know, a good skill to have to clean up after yourself,
Yeah.
So it isn't, we're not very, I'm not like, okay, it has to go in right now and put it up. But there's a place for everything. And when you're done with it, put it away. Like you said, my office space, that's where I create. I want it to be nice and organized. But by no means are you going to walk into my house and see everything labeled. Yeah. You're not going to see anything labeled actually in my house. But is everything going to be in its place? Yeah. Is it going to look like a home that has two kids in it with toys around? Yeah, because I want my house to be a home. Like I don't want it to be picture perfect, So it's definitely a balance.
Yeah, we were talking about, I was telling my wife that we were doing this live, and we have a 1.5-year-old boy. And we spend the day literally putting things, he takes a toy out, we put it where it belongs, and we spend the day putting back to the same place. It feels like as soon as we put it down, the place where it belongs, he takes it away and leaves it somewhere else, right? And at the end of the day, we're just exhausted. But we've learned that, in the very beginning, I would say that we were more, let's be strict about it, and every time he takes it, now it's in the house. As you said, by the end of the day, as long as that goes back there and the house doesn't, we don't go to sleep and it's a mess everywhere, and that tomorrow we can wake up and live in a house, not full of stuff everywhere. We're okay with that. But obviously that's, as you mentioned too, it's different steps in your life, right? If they were, 17, 18, my expectations would be that they would be picking up after them.
Exactly.
Probably even younger than that. But picking up after themselves and not leaving messes everywhere, right? So, and the other question I had for you, so you kind of started talking a little bit about, how you adapted a little bit with COVID-19, that you're doing these sessions online, that you're doing videos, video chats, and I imagine it's difficult for you because your business requires that you walk into a physical space to see what it looks like. Even measuring things, right, where they could fit, or how you can utilize the space better. I mean, it's great that you can do it over video, but obviously you have a better view when you're there physically. So other than that, and then there's also the part of people perhaps not wanting you to come into their homes or into their businesses, right?
Yep.
So that has affected. If you can kind of elaborate a little bit more about that. How, obviously you had to change it, but has your business declined because of that too? Is it something that you're seeing that maybe you're not getting as many calls, or if you could kind of let
Yeah.
us know?
So for sure, when March hit and the whole stay-at-home order, I had, we had clients that were listed out for the whole month of March, and I started reaching out to them more because I wanted to make them feel comfortable. Like, it's okay if you don't feel comfortable letting me in. Do you want to reschedule? And all of them did. They all wanted to reschedule. So, rescheduling is pushing it out to when? June, July, August, who knows, whenever they feel comfortable, letting someone else into their home. So has it been a hit? Yeah. I think if I would focus just on, oh my gosh, I've lost all my clients, I wouldn't be doing this live. I'd be
Right.
like, okay, I'm done and let me go find a job.
Yeah.
Did it take time? And every day I have to like remind myself what to focus on, right? Not to focus on the fear that's out there, but, focus on my faith and focus on um, what this business started as for me, my why for this business. So I've had to be very intentional about just, for me, it was just focusing on staying connected with my followers, staying connected with my clientele. So being present and saying, you know what, I can't get into people's houses, but can I go ahead and do a Facebook challenge for any of my followers? Yeah. So the last couple of weeks since we've been on lockdown, every week I've been doing a challenge for free, putting it out there. If they want a step-by-step guide, I email them the step-by-step guide where they can walk step by step how I would do it if I was in their home.
Yeah.
I just felt like I needed to stay connected and let them know, give them a sense of normalcy. Like if they were used to seeing me on Facebook and used to seeing my quotes and used to seeing whatever I would post, I wanted to stay there and keep that normal during this uncertain time. So pivoting, yeah, I had to do virtual, and I've done a couple of virtual sessions, via FaceTime, via Zoom, and it's worked. It's been hard for me because I'm very much, I want to be right there with the person.
Yeah.
Like I want to be their coach and saying, hey, we got this. You can do this. I'm going to give you the skills to do it. You're going to be great. And it is a different feel when you're face to face with somebody.
Right.
So now I'm just trying to do it over, over Zoom, and it's worked. I haven't seen a crazy, amount of people asking for it, but that's okay. It's just my way of still staying engaged. And then the other pivot really was offering gift cards through my client management system that would be easy for my followers or anybody to say, hey, I don't need you now, but I'll need you in the future. So you can easily go online and get any of my services in a gift card format. So making it easy for them, no obligation, no anything. It's out there. If you want it, great. If you don't, that's totally fine as well. But that's the two main pivots. But for me, the priority was always just, I want to stay connected. I want to stay connected with them, ask or answer any of their questions that they may have, whatever it may be. So that was my way of doing it, was putting out that challenge. This was another way of doing it. This is like my first live ever. So
You're doing great.
so that was, me saying, okay, I'm going to get out of my comfort zone, focus on, what's in front of me, and go from there.
Great. The other question I had, and just kind of to touch upon what you said, a lot of people that I've been interviewing, they mentioned, that they have to reinvent themselves a little bit, or to kind of take a step back and see what they were doing and how they can do it differently. And it sounds like to you, it's a similar thing. I mean, you're still trying to provide as much as you can for your customers. You just have to do it in a different way that you're probably not as comfortable with. But it is what you have right now until everything goes back to normal, right? But the question I had in regards to your clientele. So normally, if you can kind of walk us through normally, what type of clients do you have? Are there like reoccurring clients that you come every month, or do you come every 3 months, or is it a one-time thing? And then how, if I had a closet that I wanted to get organized, I saw your business, what would I do? Would I call you, or you come in and look at it and price it? So just so people that are looking to get the services, they have an idea on how to do it.
Yeah. So my clients range, they're all over. So I have some clients where I've gone in one time, organized their space, and that's it. I have some reoccurring where, okay, I've organized one space and then they call me up and say, okay, can you take care of this space for me? And so I go back and do a secondary space. I've had some clients where I've done one room and then they call me and say, can you do my entire house? So that's always changing. On the physical organization, typically I'm seeing a person maybe one time and that's it. And then, unless they call me back for another. What I offer for my physical organization clients is if I've organized the space, I have what I call a monthly or quarterly upkeep. So a lot of times what I tell my clients is I can come in and organize your space, but if we don't work on the skill set, it's just going to be a mess in 2 or 3 weeks, right? So I can create the systems for you, but if we don't change what's happening up here and understand how it works for you, you're just going to go back to it in a couple of months. And for some people, they're okay with that. They're like, you know what? I don't want it. So can you come every month and maintain or reorganize the space that I've already organized for them? So that's my monthly upkeep. That's where reoccurring income comes in, right? If they want to sign up for that plan. My administrative clients, my small businesses, my entrepreneurs, those are monthly, right? Typically that's on a yearly basis that I have them and I'm seeing them on a monthly basis or we're touching base virtually, so that's more of a reoccurring, like monthly going to see them. Those meetings, can be maybe once, twice, 3 times a month. It just depends on the package that they ask for, so they may just need 20 hours. They may need 40 hours a month, whatever their need is. And the good thing for them is they're not paying an employee, right? So you don't have to worry about signing somebody on as an employee or health benefits or anything like that. I'm coming in as an independent contractor. That's it. So you don't have any responsibility to me as far as, paying insurance or anything like that. And there isn't a commitment in regards to if you say, okay, our time is up, I'm done, I don't need your services. I can't go to unemployment and say, oh, okay, I need unemployment because they let me go. No, that isn't it. So there's a commitment there monthly, anywhere from 6 months to a year. But then after that, we reevaluate, or even throughout, we reevaluate and say, okay, how much do you really need right now? Digital organization, that's again, half the time, if we've done it, it's done and that's it. And then the virtual, it's funny because with the virtual, I've done a couple of sessions and now what I'm seeing with people is them calling me back and saying, can I meet with you again? Online, just because I feel like people are like, they need that sense of, I can do this, but can you give me that idea on paper? Like I'm entering a new month and I'm feeling really overwhelmed. Can you, sit down with me and can we lay this out again? So I'm seeing just a couple of sessions that I've had, people coming back and saying, could we schedule a meeting for next month? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So it is recurring. And I have people from single parents to married to CEOs that have 6 companies, and they're entrepreneurs that have 6 companies. They're all over and they're like, all right, I need your help. So that's it.
That's cool. So, we're coming to the end of the live, but what I wanted to ask you next is, someone that is considering your services, where they can find you, website, phone number, Instagram, whatever you have, if you can share.
Yeah. So I'm on Facebook. So that's at Ordered Excellence. Facebook business page. It's the same tag or handle on Instagram as well, at Ordered Excellence. My email is orderedexcellence@gmail.com. Right? Hold on, because now I'm like, did I forget it? I want to make sure. Yeah, it is. orderedexcellence@gmail.com. My website is www.orderedexcellence.com. That is under construction. So I pulled it because I wanted to kind of revamp and work some stuff on there.
You wanted to reorganize it.
I know. I have this habit. I was like, let me make it new. So that's under construction if anybody sees it. And then if you get me on Facebook and hit me up on Messenger, I get all of that stuff straight to my phone, in my emails. So, and you can click right there to send like hey, I have a question, or, could we talk a little bit further? So that's pretty much, those are the ways to get a hold of me.
Awesome. Yeah. And what I'll do is, So this video will be live for 24 hours on Instagram, but I'll record it too, put it on Facebook tomorrow, and then when I post it, I'll be sure to put the tags for your Facebook and Instagram there as well. So
Cool.
people can see.
Awesome.
So wanted to thank you again for taking the time and doing this video. You know, anyone has any questions, they can feel free to contact you, right?
Yep.
Even if you're considering, even if you're not sure, you know, I think it's always good to have at least a consultation call or message.
And those
right?
are, yep, those are free. So you can call for a consultation. We could do a consultation FaceTime so I can see the space and let you know what it's, you know, what it would entail. A lot of times my projects I can get done within a day, unless of course it's like a full house or something like that, then it takes a couple of days. But it's totally manageable. We can break it up in phases. I've done workshops where I've broken it up in 3 phases just to make it manageable for the person and for me, because it's a lot of work going in thinking you're going to organize an entire house in 1 week. It's exhausting, you know,
Right.
mentally exhausting, physically exhausting for me and for the person. So that's another thing, just taking that time to see how much they can handle during the process. So
Awesome. Cool. Well, thanks again for your time.
Thank
And
you.
you know, if I ever need some organization in my house here, it's hard with the young kids, but if I do,
It is.
I'll be sure to contact you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for the opportunity, and thank you for doing this for all of the local businesses. It's been really cool. So
No
thank you
worries.
very much.
Thank you. My
All right.
pleasure. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.